All right, yes, it's your boy Jay Barber. Studio Noah is coming back at you, the voice of Black Art, coming at you with another one of the best in Black Art. Talk to my man Christopher Clark right here on the podcast. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Happy to be here.
Ah, man, you've been a fan of your work, man. Been check you, follow you on Twitter, man. All that good stuff, and you always being positive, man. And I like you because one, I see us like as a connection with each other because you got your wife and your family. I see how you still making it all work with the art, man. I feel like I'm doing the same thing, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, for sure, yo. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Phil, to get started.
So I'm a visual artist full time. I do murals, illustrations, the fine art thing, showing in galleries and stuff. Um, I've been making art pretty much like my whole life. I got serious about it about 2016, and that's when I decided to like try it out full time and see what happens. And I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, tell me about that, man. Tell me about that. What was the thing that made you switch a little bit?
Oh man, so every job I've ever had, I've always drawn on the job, like off the clock and on the clock when I should
Yeah,
have been
I've been
working.
there. Yeah, I've been there drawing on napkins, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yep, same thing. And so like there would always be somebody at work who would see me drawing and be like, what are you doing here? Like you should be working at Disney World. Like everybody always said Disney for some reason, but they were like, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be here in front of this computer or flipping these fries or whatever. And so 2016 I was working at Citibank. I was working on a computer. I had like my own little cubicle. I had like drawings and stuff all over my cubicle on the walls and stuff. I would have like my sketch pads, my markers, my pens, everything's. It looked more like a art studio than a workspace. And
Yeah.
like I just decided one day actually it's a funny story. So we have this thing here called Art Walk. It happens the first Wednesday of every month.
Hmm.
So I had applied for Art Walk. I didn't get in. But I saw where you could reach out to certain businesses in the area and they would let you set up outside the shop. So I applied for one and they were like, yeah, we want you to set up. Can you come meet? So I went to meet and they were like, well, instead of just setting up outside, how about we have a solo show for you inside? I was like, that's even better.
Yeah, that's even better. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, but with my work schedule, I was not going to be able to make, or I had the worst schedule was like 2 to 10:30 at night. And art walk is from like 5 to 9, so I wasn't gonna be able to make it.
Mm.
And I went to work one day, and like I couldn't go inside the building. I was just like pacing in the parking lot, and I called my wife. I was like, I don't think I can go in here. She's like, what are you talking
Oh
about?
man.
I was like, I don't know if I can do it. Like I'm tired of this job, and I'm miserable here, and like I just want to try this art thing. She was like, if that's what you want to do and you think you can do it, then like I believe in you. So
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
yeah, I went home the next day. I went back up to the job with my resignation letter. I was like I want to try this art thing, and they were like, well, you always have a place here and all that stuff. So that was like technically my first solo show was in this cigar lounge. And that was like my first time like embarking on this art journey. And so it's been full throttle since then.
That's good, man. Yeah, we all start somewhere, man. And,
Yeah.
we had the art walks down here, man. Marietta art walks, man, outside of a ice cream shop. Have my stuff set up, so I know how that go, man. You got to get in, however you get in.
Oh
So
yeah.
what was it about the experience? What did it teach you about being an artist and setting up and like what I'm saying, like that interaction that you got to have with the people, all that good stuff.
What's that first show?
Yeah,
Oh man, I learned everything. So I'm not the biggest talker. So I learned that I gotta talk to people.
you
So
got to.
art
Yeah,
yeah,
you
art has
got to.
definitely brought me like way out of my shell. Like I'm still like the quiet person in all my circles. But it's definitely taught me to talk and just to be able to talk about my work. Like I was always the artist that wanted the art to speak for itself, but
Right.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you gotta let people know like this is what it is, this is what I was thinking, this is why I use these materials and this medium, and so it definitely taught me to just be more personable and more sociable and to like just dig a little deeper into myself.
And so you're looking at your art then compared to your art now. What do you think the difference is?
I think it's pretty consistent. The things that I'm talking about in my work,
Hmm.
they're pretty much the same. The skill has grown, and like the way I talk about it, even like the way I talk about it in the actual work. But like the themes and everything, it's been pretty consistent.
So what do you think your themes are that you're exploring? Like when somebody asks you.
Oh man, so like in my art, like I always say, I'm telling like my life story. I always compare it to like writing in a diary, but instead of writing words, I'm drawing images. So like I'm
Hmm.
just telling my story. I grew up in like a Rastafarian upbringing. So in my work, you see a lot of dreads and locks, a lot of pro-black, a lot of culture, a lot of history. I like to talk about things that the young people are doing too. Like when I was growing up, I didn't go to any art museums, any art galleries.
Yeah.
I couldn't even name to you any black artists. So I try to be that artist now for like the next generation. So I try to make work that reflects them and that they can relate to, that makes them want to go to an art gallery or want to go to an art museum because they're seeing things that look like them.
Yeah, and I think that's super necessary, man. That's one of the reasons why I teach, yo, to
Yeah,
make sure that, you know what I'm saying, we're reaching people. I know I was that kid that didn't have uh so many inspirations to look for. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know any people making art full time. Everybody I knew was either working at Champion at the paper mill or,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, doing something at Walmart or something like that. Like not the art life that I was thinking of when I
oh
was
yeah,
when I was thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like writing books, even drawing comic books. You know what I'm saying? I had a dream of drawing comic books at one point,
yeah. Me
and
too.
that's how I really got into doing art. And never saw nobody like look like me do it. Like even the characters I was drawing, Spider Man and all them people, they weren't black. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's crazy you mentioned that. So when I was a kid, I used to spend all my summers in Miami with my grandparents, and so the summer before I went to 10th grade, I spent that summer in Miami, and I was looking into Sunday comics one day. And at that time, so when I was in middle school, I wanted to be a comic book artist. By the time I got to high school, I wanted to be a comic strip artist and like have my stuff in the Sunday comics.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah,
looking in the Sunday comics, and I see all the usual cartoons, and then I come across this one with these two kids. One of them has like this giant afro, the other one has dreads. I'm like, what is this? Like, we don't have anything like this where I'm from. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and that was my first introduction to the Boondocks.
yeah.
And
That's
and,
it.
and uh, Aaron
Yeah,
Aaron Magruder, I was like,
Harry
dang, this
Magruder,
guy
yo.
looks like me. Like he's black. He's making this black. I'm definitely doing this.
Yeah, he changed the game, yo, because it
Oh
had like
yeah,
that, it had the style, it had the commentary. You know what I mean? You had
yeah.
Riley going crazy. Like, yeah, that was good stuff, man.
Yeah, so that he was definitely a big inspiration, and at that time, I think I was like in 10th grade. That was the only black artist that I think I knew. And then you like fast forward, and I learned about Basquiat, but that was it.
Yeah, yeah. And so much of that stuff is like denied from us. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like we don't get talked about as much. And now, you know, I know so much just from studying, especially like black printmakers, which is a niche on top of a niche. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But you know, it's so much history out there that we just need to look for and be aware of. And part of me teaching is introducing people to that history.
yeah,
Like I can teach you how to do printmaking and show you Picasso and all the other famous printmakers that's out in the book. But I also show you Charles White
mm.
and David Driscoll and Elizabeth Catlett and all these other people that are just as good as anybody else.
Oh yeah,
But it gives you like that point of reference that you talk about. So a way to see yourself. And to me, I know I felt more connected to
yeah,
printmaking by learning about them. Yeah, man. So that's awesome stuff, you know. So I think this leads into I think I want to talk about your AI stuff, man, because your experiments with Midjourney I think are very unique. Because you're taking all that commentary and the imagery with the dreads and the children and the black skin and all that history that you're talking about,
mm.
and you're getting it out of this AI program, man. Tell me how'd you get into the AI
Oh
Midjourney
man,
thing?
that's a great question. I don't know. I just know it happened sometime last year in November. I don't know if it was something I was watching or something I saw on social media, and I was like, let me check this out. And I remember testing it out. When you get on Midjourney, they give you like 25 free tries. I used them in like 25 seconds. But yeah, I was that hooked on it. And I remember going to my wife. She was sitting on the sofa. We were watching something, or I was supposed to be watching it. I was on Midjourney. And I was like, I just discovered this thing. It's going to change the game. And like, she was looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, you got to try it. Now, she's not an artist, but she's like a super creative person. I was like, just try it. And now she's addicted to it. And, but yeah, I started it November of last year, right before Art Basel. And I just started playing around with it. And, like a lot of people at the time, it was new to the public. And so there was a lot of backlash and a lot of ethical concerns and all that stuff. But I just saw like all the possibilities and all the positive ways to use it. And like you hear all the things from like different artists, like it's going to take artists' jobs and it's stealing artists' work. But like I did my own research. I never like pay attention to memes and what everybody's posting. I happen to know a few people who work in like the tech and stuff who like told me like how it's learning and like what it's drawing images from. So I just saw it as a great tool and a way that I could elevate my work and just elevate my creativity a little bit.
So tell me a little bit about that, because you, in your opinion, is it taking work from artists, and do you think it take people jobs? Like, address some of
Yeah.
them concerns, because
I
I
mean,
like to hear your feedback on it, because you actually use it as
yeah.
compared to, like, you know
I
what I'm
don't
saying,
think
somebody
it's
else.
going to take well the art AI stuff. I don't think it's going to take anybody's job. Now can it take artists' work? Yeah. I mean, like any new technology or tools, like you're gonna have people who use it for the wrong reasons. It doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I choose to use it for the right reason. So, like one of the ways I use it, so like I'm primarily like a portrait artist. I like to do portraits and figures and stuff. And so when I would be looking for a reference, I would do like the same thing other artists do: go to Google, Pinterest. But
Yep,
after a
searching out. Yep,
while, what'd you say?
I was searching out. Yeah, the people
Oh
do that
yeah.
all the time. Yeah.
But after a while, like I look at a lot of art online, so I notice when like I can look at a person's portrait, I know exactly where they got the picture from because I've seen it painted or drawn 30 other times. And so I'm like, dang, with this AI technology, I can create my own reference pictures from scratch of people that don't even exist. So I don't have to worry about anybody having this person. But I created it like from my mind. So that was one way that I thought to use it. Another way that I use it, so I would take my own art that I've already made, put it into the AI program, and just create different variations of it, like just to see how far I can take it. Because I mean, as artists, sometimes like we think ahead of our skill level.
Right.
So I have like all these crazy visions, but I don't even know where to begin to like put that on the canvas. But I can put it into the AI and it'll give me like a frame of reference. So it gives me like all this crazy stuff in my mind. I can like visualize it now and then use that as a blueprint to create from. But I mean, I've used it that way. Um, I also like to think of it as like a camera, but like at like a regular camera. Like we take images of things that are real, things that we can see right now. With the AI, it's like you're taking pictures, like you're able to take pictures of the past. So like I did a very popular piece. It had like over 100,000 likes, millions of views. Everybody from Kahindi Wiley, Michael B. Jordan, the late Twitch, everybody liked that piece. And it was a depiction of a kid sitting at a table. He was like in the class learning the art of sculpture in ancient Kush.
Mm.
And so I used it as a way to create a snapshot of something I never seen before, way in the past. Like I wasn't there, but I was able to like imagine what it might have looked like through the use of AI. So it's kind of like reimagining the past, imagining the future, what the future might look like. And so I just think it's a cool tool to use creatively. Like I hear some artists say, like, I don't need AI to be creative, but I don't think you need it to be creative. I think it needs you to be creative. Like it doesn't work without like the human element. So
No, that's interesting. I never heard nobody describe it like that, but that makes like a lot of sense to
yeah,
me. And so when I look at some of the image, I think your images that you came up with are probably the most circulated AI images that I've seen, especially of Black people. Like, because I think in the end we are looking for more, like we said before, more images of ourselves
yeah,
that we're trying to get in like these different visions of. And I think that's what's so powerful about that piece that you're talking about, like learning how to sculpt and Kush, like the little boy and the setup and the lighting, like all of that stuff. It hits right there where we imagine AI can take us.
yeah.
Because I think we've hit this point where a lot of Black creativity is reached sort of a saturation point, like a
Oh
tipping
yeah,
point, where it's becoming more and more and more normal to see all the different images of us created.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I thought that one was pretty good. How'd you feel about like the success of a lot of the images that you put online?
Um, I mean, a few of them got like some good feedback. That one in particular, I don't know what it was. It just went crazy like worldwide, but
Yeah,
it was kind of interesting to see how people responded to it. I got some backlash too. I got some comments. This is not real art, and this is stealing from artists and all that stuff. But I mean, it was way more positivity than the negative stuff. So I'm like, it made me happy to see so many people like open to new possibilities and to new ways in creating art.
yeah, because I think for me it comes down to like how you're going to use it.
Yeah,
Because some of the people, I don't know if you saw this story of a guy won this photography exhibition, and he came out later and said that it's actually an AI photograph. It's
yeah,
not like his work. And so I think we're like right at the cusp of having this conversation about like what this thing really is, right? And
yeah.
how we should look at it and how we should address it, and like what is being generated out of it.
Hmm.
Like in your opinion, I get a feeling of where you're going with this, but in your opinion, like what do you think this means for artists like going forward?
Mm, I mean, I only like for me, I only see it as a tool. Like for me, it's no different from acrylic paint or
Mm.
spray. Like there's only so much you can do with paint in the tube. There's only so much you can do with a pencil. There's only so much you can do with Procreate or Photoshop. Same thing with AI. There's only so much you can do with it, but it's just a tool, a different means to get out some of your ideas and to be creative.
And so I saw that you did one piece called "Fresh and Clean," which is based on one of your AI
Oh yeah.
generated pieces. Tell me about like how that process went of painting and what do you think? You just treated just like a regular old reference though.
So I did. So that one actually, I did. I think I did maybe 4 or 5 of those. I did like a little small series. So that came from an illustration I did in Procreate one day. It was just a simple little illustration. I put that illustration into Midjourney, added a few little details here and there, and then I created different variations of it, and then I painted those. So it started off as like my own illustration that I created in collaboration with the AI, and then back to traditional work. So I do that sometimes. I kind of like a push and pull type thing.
I like that. Actually, I never heard people describe it like that, like an AI collaboration. Because
Yeah.
if you're taking the image and letting the AI enhance it, and then you come back and do more work on top of it, and
Oh
so
yeah.
it's never really finished. Like it's like anything that we make. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's never really finished until like it's hanging on the wall somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Nah, I'm with that, Joe. I like that. And I also saw a picture where you put in your you do these custom paint cans, like the crush ones, and then you put
Oh
them in
yeah.
there and let the AI generate. Tell me about that one a little bit.
Oh, that yeah, that was just an experiment, but like with the cans, so I do a lot of murals and I have a lot of empty spray cans, and so normally I would throw them away. And I got invited a few years ago to do a show where they like did art on paint cans. I had never heard of that before. That was probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and that's when I started just like doing illustrations on the cans. And then last year, I was in my studio where I keep my extra cans. I was getting some cans to draw on. One of them was bent up, and I was gonna throw it away. And I was like, "Dang, this kind of looks like a little trophy. Like, what if I bend it some more?" So I bent it some more, and I painted it gold. And that was like the first one in this new series of like the crush cans that I do. So yeah,
And
I mean,
how do people respond to that one?
oh, people love those. Like, it's just a way to like upcycle, to take something that normally we would see as trash and turn it into art. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, over the pandemic, where everybody was in a house, I would take the cans and I would hide them in different places around the city. I
Oh
would
wow.
always hide them somewhere by art, so like by a mural. And so
Yeah.
it was my way of getting people out of the house and getting people back active, but also introducing them to art, like public art that they didn't know about. So like on the search for these cans, they got to go through all these murals and sculptures that they may have not known were there, like in regular life.
Mm-hmm. I like that, man. I like, you know what? I like the energy that you have, like when you approach your practice, from what I see online and stuff like that. Because I see you doing like a lot of shows, a lot of murals. You're always experimenting. You're
Yeah.
drawing in your sketchbooks. You're showing all that stuff. You don't take this the wrong way, but you look like an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like from the clothes you're wearing to like how you set it up. You're always wearing something fresh. You know what I'm saying? You got the dreads with the whole thing going on, man. Like you look like a guy that's out there making stuff, man. Tell me what goes into your art practice.
um, I would say just life. Like I'm inspired by life. I'm inspired by current events. My family is a big inspiration. All my kids draw and are into art. Um, I just try to approach it like honestly. Like I don't try to force it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't try to like a lot of artists get stuck in trying to create what they think people want to see, especially with social media. Like everybody's trying to get likes and
Yeah, yeah,
trying to get
yeah.
shared. Like I think one thing about my practice is I've never got caught up in that. Like I've always done what I wanted to do. Like if I just wanted to up and change a medium or change a style. And so I think my fan base, they've grown used to like seeing me change so rapidly. Like I might be doing oil paint one day, I might be doing oil pastel, pencil, collage, acrylic paint, spray paint. And so
AI, yeah. All this
yeah,
stuff, yeah,
yeah. So I
yeah.
try not to box myself in, and like that opens me up to. I mean, in my opinion, it opens me up to being like more free and creative. Like I don't get artist block that much. I think artists. I think a lot of times when we get artist block, it just means that like we've grown tired of doing like whatever it is that we're doing, and we've
Mm-hmm.
gotten bored with it. So like I've made it like my mission to make sure that I bounce around and like constantly try new things and just keep it fresh.
I like that, man, and I think that's something that people need to keep track of
Yeah.
because people ask me the same thing about having writer's block, not artist block, and I never have artist block either because I'm known to switch it up. Like you know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying, even though I'm a printmaker, I can switch from etching to woodcuts to screen prints, but then I switch it up and do a painting or something like that just because I
Yeah.
can't say how good it's gonna be,
Yeah.
but that's never the point. You know what I mean? It's never the point. The point is just to be always making and always
Yeah.
doing stuff. And one thing that you always say, hashtag do the work.
Yeah.
And on your thing, man. Tell me where that came from, man. Tell me what gave you that drive to do stuff like that.
Oh man. I don't know. It came out of wanting to. So I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of artists, and like everybody has this dream of like being this successful artist, but we don't always know like what that looks like. We just know that I don't want to work in this 9 to 5 and I want to do my art.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but early on, I don't know, like I made it my mission. Like I did a lot of research. I researched a lot of artists. I looked at a lot of artists who like I admire, and I looked at like their journeys and like where they are now, and kind of like modeled my path after that in a way, or kind of use their journey as a blueprint. And so like early on, it was like I know exactly where I want to go and what it takes to get there. Now I just need to do the work. And so that's kind of where that came from. And it's just like an affirmation I tell myself just as a reminder. And I don't always do the work. Like, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm lazy and I procrastinate, but I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
say it anyway because somebody is going to need to hear it. So even if it doesn't inspire me that day, it might inspire somebody else.
No, I love that because I think that's the one thing I always tell people is like you don't know what your path is going to be. Like
Yeah.
even all the people that we talk to on the podcast, there are 100 different ways that one person can make it,
Oh yeah.
and all that stuff is going to look a little bit different, right?
Hmm.
Because like when you do the murals and then you have the studio stuff that you're doing, like you're not gonna catch your boy on no walls, on no ladders in the middle of the summer. Like that's not gonna be my thing. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I do. But that don't mean that I can't make it in the same way that you can make it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's so many different paths. I
Oh
think
yeah.
we box ourselves in too much and
Exactly.
worry about the path too much.
Yeah.
Like forget all that other stuff. Let it all go. Just focus on the work. Just make the thing. And if you make the thing, you'll find something to do with it. It'll find its audience if it's good enough, especially. But you always have to make it. It always comes
Yeah.
back to how much you master the craft, how much time you put into it, and how dedicated are you going to do it? Are you going to do it when nobody's paying attention?
Yeah.
Right? Or are you going to do it when nobody wants the thing that you make? You
Yeah.
might be ahead of your time. You know what I mean? But you still gotta put in the work, man. You gotta keep doing it.
Yeah, we have this thing in our community about chasing the bag. I was talking to my mom one day and she was telling me, she was like, sometimes you need to just rest, like you need to slow down. She was saying how she
Yeah.
believes that mentality like comes from slavery and like working
Mm.
in the fields and having to meet a quota and pick all this cotton and do all this stuff. So like we carried this mindset to today. Like we gotta always be working and chasing the
Yeah.
bag. But like what I tell artists, I'm like just focus on like just do the work and you won't have to chase the bag. Like the bag will chase you. Like you won't be able to outrun it. Like
Yeah, for sure, man. That's just straight up capitalism, man.
yeah,
Capitalism tell you that you got to keep working all the time,
yeah,
and you always got to reach for money and all this kind of stuff. But the work and how much you develop and grow will ultimately determine what your ceiling is anyway.
yeah.
So if you haven't made enough art to make a great piece of art, not just a good piece of art, a great piece of art,
Hmm.
something that really says and hits the mark, and if you're not able to do it consistently, and I think that's the part that people often forget about
Yeah,
is how much of what we know about somebody like a Hinde comes from we've seen him make these pieces so consistently
hmm,
over decades.
yeah,
And because of that, that's how he gets his reputation, because we know exactly what to expect when we see that name on the wall.
yeah,
We know, yeah, he about to bring it and about to give it all. Hey, you got to do the same thing.
yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, if people want to copy the success, they don't want to copy the work, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't want to be in that basement. What kind of studio you got?
Um, I got a fairly decent studio. So my first studio, it was in this old grocery manufacturer warehouse. It was like 100 years old. It was real cool. We didn't have any AC, no heat. So it would be
I love
blazing
it.
in there
Yeah,
in the summers and freezing cold in the winter. So the spot that we're in now, it's a really nice building. It used to be a law firm. So it's like it's super nice on the outside. Like you wouldn't think that it's a bunch of artists in there making a mess from the outside. But yeah, it's a pretty nice studio. Got AC in there. It's about maybe 20 artists, maybe a little less. I actually share a space with one of my friends. She's an artist, muralist as well, and we have the biggest space in there, so we split that space. But it's a pretty nice space. I think my studio looks more like a gallery than an art studio.
Oh yeah.
So I do most of my work at home, and then I'll bring it there to the studio. So the way I have it set up, it almost looks like a little mini museum of just my work.
Is it just more comfortable to work at home?
um, I like working at both, but like I have 3 kids and a wife, so
There you go. Yeah.
yeah, I spend a lot of time at home with the family and stuff. I go up there when I can.
I know that. I know that struggle, man. I had my when I first went full time as an artist. I had my son at home with me, and
Yeah,
doing potty training and all that stuff while trying to draw and
yeah.
make
My
stuff.
son is out
Yeah,
watching Ice Age right now.
that's what's up, man. That's what's up, yo. How much of it has your family and your wife inspired what you do?
Um, they inspire a lot, and especially like my kids. Like it's crazy being a parent and like making another human being, and like just like
Mm,
sometimes I just look at them and it's like wow, like there's so much of me in there. Like just
yeah,
seeing them draw like different things, like I never try to force them to be like me. Like you got to be an artist because I'm an artist. You got to draw like, but just to see that they just have it like
yeah,
naturally and they want to do it on their own without me like telling them anything. Like my oldest daughter, like she's like really good at drawing and stuff. She likes sculpture, all that, and I'll try to give her little tips. She's like, I know how to do it, Dad. Like you don't have to tell me. Like, it's crazy, but like I think that's the biggest thing that inspires me, just seeing that they're into it and like they've spent basically their whole lives like in the art world, in galleries and museums.
yeah,
Both
yeah.
my daughters have like huge giant murals that other artists have done of them around the city. They don't even pay it any mind. Like, they don't care. There you are on that giant wall. Yeah, all right. But
Yeah, once you see it one time, it's,
yeah,
oh yeah,
but it's just cool to like introduce them into this lifestyle and into these different experiences that I never had growing up.
yeah,
We have a museum membership that lets us like go to any museum in the country for free. So whenever we travel, like a museum is always on the agenda. So they've been in like so many museums. Like me and my wife, like we had never done that stuff as kids. So
yeah, yeah,
it's cool to like give them those opportunities and but that inspires me just seeing them living the life that I wish I lived when I was that age.
yeah, for sure, man. And speaking of murals, like you do use a lot of. I don't know if they're your kids or, but you do use a lot of kids,
Yeah.
like in the murals that you do around the city. Like you're down in Jacksonville, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you down there in Jacksonville, man. You throwing up murals all around, man. Tell me about how you got into murals and kind of what's been the benefit for you.
I got into murals by accident. Um, so I had a friend. He was opening up a shop, and he wanted a small mural on the outside of his shop. And he was like, "Oh, you draw and you paint. Like, can you do a mural?" I was like, "I guess. Like, I've never done one before. I'll try." And so I did that mural. Another friend who he went to Juilliard. He runs a dance school, a dance studio for like black kids here in Jacksonville. He saw that mural. He was like, "Well, I need you to come in and paint some of my dancers on the wall in the studio." I was like, "Okay." I did that, and from there, somebody else saw that, and like it's just kind of been like a what they call it, avalanche or like a domino effect.
Yeah, yeah. Steady growth.
Yeah, so that's kind of how murals work. Like they're like giant billboards. So every mural that I do, I get like 3 or 4 more mural jobs from that one. Like people driving by, they're walking by. I have a building, I have an office space. I work for this company, and so I never like I never set out to do murals. I never wanted to be a muralist. It's just something that kind of happened. And
Mm-hmm.
it's cool though. Like it's led to some amazing opportunities. Like 2 years ago, I did a collaboration with Peloton. They made the exercise bikes,
Yeah, I know
and
what you're
so
talking
I
about.
got
Yeah.
to do 2 storefront murals for their storefront in Tampa. and the one here in Jacksonville. So that was pretty cool. Um, I've been flown around like the country to do murals in schools and like for different like mural festivals and stuff. So it's something that I didn't intend to do that just kind of like fell on me, but it's cool. I like murals because they're accessible to everybody, like especially like black people. Like they don't always feel
Mhm.
comfortable going in like certain institutions, like museums and stuff. Like you don't always feel welcome in those spaces. Like if you feel like you don't know the language or it's a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
too fancy, or you might
yeah.
not understand the art, or when you don't see anything in there that looks like you, like why go there? So murals for me have been a way to share art with people who normally wouldn't get a chance to see it, especially in certain communities. And like I always want to represent like us, and so I make sure to do giant black faces so that they can't like we can't be ignored. Like you got to see us, and I think that instills pride, like in the community, especially in the youth. I do a lot of youth, just to inspire them and to motivate them. Like this could be you. And,
I
like
like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's so that kind of stuff is so necessary because it is so accessible. It is the type of thing like when I think about growing up in Richmond, Virginia, there was just a bunch of cigarette ads or like or bread for sale, like you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that. And it was never this kind of inspirational outlook or something that showed pride in who people were,
yeah,
like hanging up on the wall that you could drive by and see. And the one or two things that were ever on the wall was just like graffiti and stuff. You
yeah,
know, as an art kid, I'm into it, but
hmm,
you know, it wasn't meant to inspire. It was just meant to mark territory.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So like it's good to see that, and it is such a big push, especially now in the terms of how they're spending these public dollars
hmm,
on stuff. That there's such a good emphasis on uh, specifically people making projects in their neighborhood that look like the people in the neighborhood.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff, man. What is it like down in Jacksonville, man, in terms of the art scene?
Um, it's growing. The art scene is growing. It's not a big art scene. But I've definitely seen like the changes over the years, especially with the public art. When I moved here from Tallahassee in 2012, there were like no murals that I
Mm.
can think of. Now the whole downtown is covered, so I can see the arts and culture sector growing here a whole lot more. And I guess the people in charge realizing the potential of arts and culture and artists and like what we add to like a city, um and like it's making the city more attractive. We got a lot of people from up north moving here, a lot of New Yorkers, and Jacksonville has been on all these lists of like best places to move or to
Oh
retire and
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, the art scene is growing. I think right now like Jacksonville is like going through an art renaissance. So there's a lot of things starting to happen right now that's going to be like real big in the future. So like a lot of seeds are being planted right now.
Oh man, that's good stuff right there, man.
Oh
That's what I
yeah.
like to hear.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's popping up. It's popping up all around, man, in places
Yeah.
that you wouldn't think. You know what I'm saying? Like when people think about Atlanta as a big city, you know what I'm saying, with the largest airport and the busiest airport in the world. Of course, people think like art is going to be here, but to see it in places like Jacksonville, in places like Norfolk, Virginia,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like random places, not random, but different places that you don't often hear as destination places for art. You know what I'm saying? Especially like down in Florida, where first thing people think about is Miami.
Miami. Yeah.
When they're coming down there. You know what I mean? How different is the vibe from there to Miami?
It's like completely different. So Jacksonville is it's the largest, I think it's the largest US city like land wise. But it's a big country.
Oh wow,
It's not like city like Miami or like
yeah,
Atlanta. It's
yeah.
more like a big country, but we might get there. There are a few people and a few developments taking place that I think are trying to get it to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I can always tell that whenever you got land, man, somebody gonna come and
Oh
try
yeah,
and make some out of it, yo.
yeah,
For
they're
sure.
building it up over here right now.
Yeah. And so you recently had a solo show down there,
Yeah.
New Growth
Oh yeah.
out at Kent Gallery, man. Tell me about that, how it went down for you, because I saw you preparing for it. You were saying how nervous you were like going into it,
Yeah.
man. Tell me how was that experience for you?
It was actually pretty good. I got there late, so everybody who knows me knows that every art event I've ever been in, I'm always like the last to arrive, even when it's about me. Um, but it was pretty good. It was my first. I call it my first official solo show. Like I've had other solo shows, like in like little coffee shops and things like that. But this was like my first, like real one in the gallery,
Yeah.
and it went pretty good. I was able to fill the gallery. I make a whole bunch of work. Like you can see inside my studio, like it's just stacks of stuff. Like I'm constantly making work. So I had a lot of material to work with. I was able to come up with some new stuff. I was able to utilize that AI and to create some new paintings using that. So I was able to show a lot of stuff. And so that title, it was inspired by a few things. So first, it was inspired by like a new growth in like the technology and like trying different mediums and different styles. But then also when we think about new growth, we think about hair. So like you hear that a lot, like with when people get braids or dreads,
Yeah.
like your new growth is showing, like you got to go get a retwist. And
Yeah.
so to me, all my different styles are my new growth. So it's like I don't want to get a retwist. Like I don't mind showing my new growth off and showing all the. And so that's what I was nervous about. I was like I don't know how people are gonna take the show because I have so many different styles and have works on paper, works on canvas. I had some stuff on cardboard. I had paintings, drawings, illustrations. So I was like, I don't know, like if it's really cohesive or if it just looks like a bunch of random stuff. But it turned out pretty good. My focus on that show was about hair, about dreads in particular. I talked a lot about the Crown Act and like a lot of the things that we're seeing in the news, like kids not being able to walk at graduation because they're locked, or
Yeah.
not being
Yeah.
able to play sports because of their locks, and just like
Yeah.
all kind
Yeah.
of crazy stuff.
That madness, man, making him shave his head
Oh
before he
yeah,
could do the wrestling match. Like this crazy
yeah.
stuff, man.
And so like one of the best compliments I got from that show was a guy, I hadn't met him before, and he was like, "I just feel seen." He was like, "That's all. Like, I don't even know what else to say. I just feel seen." And like that's all I ever want to do at the work is make like people who look like me feel seen and like worthy of being up on those gallery walls.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. I'm glad that worked out for you, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
ready
but
for the next
you
one.
I think that's a great way to approach it too, man. Take all that energy that you made taking and creating stuff, man. Just put it into it. Throw it all in there, because you honestly you don't never know what's gonna resonate with people
Oh
when
yeah,
you making stuff.
yeah.
Like the one thing you should never do is try to anticipate how people are gonna take your artwork, because you do not know.
It's always the
how,
stuff that I don't like and want to paint over that people are like, "Oh my God, this is the one!
yeah.
Like this is a masterpiece." I'm like, "Oh, I'm glad you like that because I was going to paint over it yesterday."
So many times, yo. That's how I got. Man, you know what? My first Charlie Palmer piece that I got in my house. It was a piece he was about to paint over. I
Oh
was like, "You gonna paint over that, Charlie? You should just give it to me." He was like, "Oh, you want it?" I
man.
was like, "Yeah, I want it." I still got it hanging in my kitchen right now. That piece is beautiful. But that is like you are not the person to determine your value of your art.
Yeah,
Like that, you'll never be able to do it because people. There's so many narratives. It's also something about being in the zeitgeist. Like just the feeling that's out in the air that everybody is getting, that is connecting them to different things, like connecting them back to ideas. I think that's why some artists can make similar work a lot of
yeah.
times, is because like it's just something in the air that you can't explain and you can't get a hold of,
Hmm.
that you probably don't even know is what's driving you to create. And that's the kind of thing that makes art relate to people in
Yeah.
a different way. And so, yeah, not to turn it to a different subject, man, but just talking about in terms of gallery, man, we talked. You had a piece that you posted a while ago that was in the Black Wall Street Gallery, and there's a lot of shenanigans that's going on with that
Yeah,
gallery, man. That guy Rico Wright, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
tell me about this, man, because
Oh,
I think this is the kind of stuff that artists makes artists fear working with a gallery. And
yeah,
I think we should just talk about it and be open, so we can have an honest conversation
yeah,
about there are bad galleries, there's good galleries, and kind of this was like not a great experience for you, I don't think.
yeah. So I've always had that fear of being with a gallery. I've never been represented by a gallery, and I think it's largely in part to that fear. Like I didn't want anybody to like control my stuff or say what I could sell or be getting this big old 50% commission and all that
Hmm.
stuff. And like back in those times, like when I was younger, like I was still like uneducated on like the art world and stuff. So I didn't go to art school. I'm self-taught artist and stuff, and so I had to like learn a lot on my own. And so I always feared galleries. And I think it was around might have been 2019, right before the pandemic. He reached out to me. He was still in Tulsa then. He was like, I got this gallery and I want to represent you and I believe in you and I love your work and all this stuff. And I want to represent you exclusively. And I think I called everybody, every big artist I know, my collector friends. I was like, what do you think about this? And he was like, don't do an exclusive deal. Don't do an exclusive. I didn't do a deal at all. I don't know. Like I trust it. Like we don't always trust our intuition, but
Yeah.
I did that time. I was like, something just don't seem right. And so like we kind of kept in contact throughout the years. And in 2021, um he moved to New York and got the gallery there. And I didn't know about any of the crazy stuff that had happened in Tulsa, which was why he was in New York. Um and he was like, "Yeah, I got this show. I got this new gallery. I want you to be in the show." And like, of course, like I'm an emerging artist. Like, you know how we feel about New York. Like, oh man,
Oh yeah, yo.
a show in New York. Like, most
That New
definitely.
York show, yeah.
And so I was super excited. We did the show. It was like a huge success. It was like 2021. So right, I mean, it was still COVID, but it was like a gang of people in there. Like you couldn't like turn around without bumping into somebody. So I was super excited. Like this is my first New York show. I think that was my first time in New York,
Oh
and so I
wow.
got to go to a lot of galleries and stuff. So it was a good experience.
Yeah.
Um, but after that, like the piece didn't sell, and so like I was expecting to get the piece back. And he was like, "Well, I had this one person that was interested in it, so I want to hold on to it. I'm gonna put it in this other show." So they had another show, another group show, that summer, and so the piece was in that show too. And he didn't sell it in that show, and so like I'm expecting to get it back and all this stuff. And we kind of lost contact for a while, and then he reached back out to me. He was like, "Well, um, what's the lowest amount you sell the piece for?" And I gave him a number. Like it was on sale. It was in the gallery for like 10,000. And so I'm like, okay, maybe like 8,000. He was like, okay, I want to buy it.
He want to buy it.
He's like, yeah, I want to add it to my collection. So the gallery is gonna get half, and then I'll pay you
What?
the other half. So basically, from 10,000 to 4,000. And I was like, I guess okay. It's in a collection in New York. Like I was still like crazy over like New York and stuff. Like, oh, at least it's up there. Like somebody
Hmm.
might see it, and that might lead to other opportunities. And so after that, I didn't hear from him. And then over time, I don't know. We kept playing like tag. Like he would want me to call him, or he would miss my call, and write him like you still like want that piece or whatever. And I don't know, just like a lot of time passed, and like I never got no funds for my piece.
Damn.
And so last year it's crazy. Last year, my wife and I, and one of my friends here, who's an artist too, we went to Miami for Art Basel. We happened to be in the Rubel Museum and ran into him. And he was like,
Oh, come on.
"Hey, Chris, what's up?" Blah blah blah. And he was like, he was telling the people who he's with, yeah, he did this painting. It's my daughter's favorite painting. She loves it. It's hanging in that house right now. My wife,
Oh
my
man.
wife don't have no filter. Like I'm the cool, quiet one. She the one, like she'll tell you about yourself. And so she got this look on her face, like it's hanging in your house, but we didn't get no money for it. Like, and so he was like, yeah, yeah, we got to talk and all this stuff. And so I don't know. It was just a lot of runaround and no money. And so
Damn.
earlier, well, I guess like a few months ago is when I saw the that article that came. I think I don't know if it was Artsy or Art News did that article.
Oh, yeah, I think it was Art News. Yeah.
I saw that article and like I had never like spoke out about it or anything, but when I saw that it was a whole lot of people
Yeah.
and bigger name people than me, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to like share my side of the story. And so that's when I had made that post on Instagram, and it was crazy. He saw the post, and he inboxed me. Oh, I thought we supposed to be like boys, and we're black men, and we got to stick up for each other, and all this. And like he went crazy in the inbox. I shared it on my Facebook page, but he was I couldn't even get a message in. Like they were just coming back to back to back, and like the world is going to see it. I was like, okay, something's not right. Something's not right in the head. Like,
Yeah.
but like after reading that article and seeing that some people's like he sold their art, and not only did they not get the money for the sales, but the collectors didn't even get the art. Like the art was just like in
Yeah.
storage somewhere. I'm like, is my art in storage somewhere? And like I had friends who were actually represented by the gallery, and I guess like sometimes like when you're in that position and you're getting like all those benefits that come with being in that position and stuff, like you're kind of blind. It's not that you're blind to it. I guess you like you don't want to believe it because you're like, dang, like I'm getting all this success from this, so I don't want to believe that this has actually happened. But I mean, it happened to them too. So
That's
yeah,
crazy,
the
man.
whole thing is crazy. So I still don't have my painting. That was one of the first paintings I did of me and my son. So it means a lot. But it's just crazy that a lot of people are they didn't get paid, they don't have their work, and it's just like up in limbo right now. So
That's crazy, man. That's some crazy stuff. They try to flip it back on you, like you did something wrong,
yeah,
for
yeah,
letting people know, like you had this piece and you ain't giving him no money for it.
yeah,
But I mean, yeah, but he got mad problems going on with all his stuff, like $100,000 worth of art sales that he ain't pay people for, and still got their work. All kinds of madness, man. That's the stuff that does uh, make people scared to trust in people.
oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying? To engage in like the system, and because there are great galleries that are out there, great galleries that are representing
yeah,
people. Zukai Gallery down here represents me, and never had a problem. Always got paid. They put my work into some pretty good collections,
yeah,
and they make it available. And they're always up front. We talk, we conversate like it's a relationship.
mm-hmm,
And if you don't have that kind of great trusting relationship with somebody that's representing your work, it's very hard to turn over. You know what I'm saying? Your hard work. We invest a lot of time, blood, sweat, and money into
oh yeah,
all the stuff that we do. We don't want to do the stuff for nothing. You know what I mean?
yeah. Even with the name, like it just gives like that whole history of like Tulsa and what happened, like a bad
Yeah.
image. Like when people think of Black Wall Street, like they shouldn't think of this crazy gallery. They should be remembering the history
Yeah.
and like
That's
what
right.
took place there. So it kind of like tarnished that a little bit, like just using that name to promote something that like wasn't even like genuine. I guess I don't know.
Nah, man, that's crazy, man. I hate to hear stories like that, and there are too many stories out there just like that,
Yeah,
man. Of people just you never got to work, never got money, and like all of it was just for nothing.
yeah,
And that's a terrible thing, man. Shame on that guy, man, for doing that stuff. Want to say more than that, but we gotta keep it
yeah.
clean on this show, man. But yeah, man, thanks for sharing that story, man. I think that's what people need to look out for. Were there anything looking back on it? Was there any particular sign that you think stood out to you that you maybe should have listened to?
I think I listened to all of them. I didn't know that I wasn't gonna like receive like money for the piece, but like
That's true.
I always
That's
tell
true.
people, like when we talk about it, you ever seen that movie Princess and the Frog, the cartoon, the
Yeah.
animated one? I
Yeah.
always tell people he reminded me of the Shadow Man from Princess and but he's like a real smooth talker, and I
Yeah.
mean that's probably how he was able to get as far ahead and like in the art world as he did. Like he's like a very great talker and like making connections and stuff. Like I give him that. Like, but it was just something about it. I was like, kind of sounds too good to be true. I don't know. Something
Yeah.
don't sound right.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, that's tough, yo. But you always gotta watch out, yo. All the artists, you gotta watch out for a certain type of people listen
Yeah,
to. And if you don't trust it, don't trust it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you can talk to other people that are working with them to make sure everything's legit.
Even
You know
if
what I'm
it's
saying?
New York,
Even
don't get
especially if
blinded by New York.
especially if it's New York, yo. Especially if it's New York. That's funny, yo. That's funny. It is like it's like a one of them big bug lights, man.
Oh
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They turn them on, people just start coming, that blue light, man, because to see that New York up there, man, we start thinking about all all kinds of money flowing from the trees.
yeah. And
You know what I'm saying?
it,
50 G's a piece.
it's crazy now. Like I was submitting for a art residency the other day, and I had to submit a bio. And so I had Black Wall Street in my bio, so I had to like redo my bio to take that out.
Oh,
And like it's on my artist CV, and I'm like, dang, do I even want this on here now? Like, so it messes up more than so it's more than just not getting a piece of art. Now it's kind of like
yeah,
you don't want that to
yeah.
mess up your reputation as an artist. Like, oh, you were dealing with this gallery, like crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that's wild, man. But going to end it on a great collab, man. What you was been doing for the Jacksonville Jam Walls with the
Yeah.
custom cleats, man. Let's talk about that for we could get this taste out of our mouth
Oh yeah.
right, real quick.
So yeah, that's an initiative that the NFL has. It's called My Calls My Cliques. They do it across the whole NFL where the players they're like working in collaboration with a local organization in the community, and so they get their cliques painted in that organization's like logo and all that stuff. So I had the opportunity 2021 and no, not 2021, but last year and this year to paint cleats for Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback of the Jaguars, for My Calls My Cleats.
Nice. Oh, the big
Oh
dog. That's what
yeah,
I'm talking about.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool. The first one, his organization was this elementary school. I think it was like I think they call it a Title One school. So it was a school and not like the best community. They don't have like a lot of funding and all that stuff. So we got to go in there and work with the kids, and they actually designed the shoes. So me and another artist, we went there and did like a little workshop. Had like sheets with the shoes on it that they can color and stuff. And so they picked
Mm-hmm.
which designs they wanted, and so we actually put what they had drawn out on the shoe. And so they got to meet with him. He sent them a video. I think he sent them all a pair of shoes and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool.
Nah, see, that's the good stuff,
Yeah,
man.
I love working with
That's
kids.
Yeah, working with kids and working with companies that are willing to put in that work and invest in art, man. And especially when it comes to connecting kids with art,
Yeah.
like that's the kind of stuff. That's the sweet spot, man. That's the stuff we need more of right there.
And like the last mural I did, it was through the Jaguar. So there's a community here called Out East. It's off of Florida Ave. They call it now A. Philip Randolph, but it's a historically black area. It was kind of like the Black Wall Street of Jacksonville, and
Mm-hmm.
through like race and like segregation and redlining and all that stuff, it kind of like fell off over the years. A lot of the shops and businesses are no longer there, so the Jaguars are working with organizations in the community to try to like revitalize that area. And so one of the first phases was putting like some public art over there. So me and four other artists, we did murals throughout the community, and yeah, that was a big project. I had one of my students, a young man, he's 14 years old, working with me out there learning the art of murals and stuff. So yeah,
Nah, that's
trying to
dope,
do
man.
some good work.
That's dope, man. Yes, keep that up, man. We love that kind of stuff, yo. That's the kind of stuff that leads to the next generation of
Oh
artists. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like, so it won't be that disconnect that me and you had, and so many
yeah,
other people had, of not knowing artists and not seeing art. Like this, I think is a time where we can really start to plant some
oh
seeds.
yeah,
You know what
most
I'm saying?
definitely.
Get people to really grow into like some really fantastic art, man. It can surpass me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Be better than me. Be better than me. Come up with some new stuff that we ain't never seen before. I
Mhm.
love that kind of stuff, man. Yeah, you're doing good work down there, man. Good work down there. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, thank you, thank you.
For sure, man. Thank you for coming on the podcast, man. Tell them everybody where they can get in contact with you.
So you can find me on social media. I'm on all of them. Same name, make it easy for you. Cooley Ross Art, COOLIRAS Art. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all of them.
All of them. You're gonna see a lot of different stuff, man. The guy's always working, always doing the work, yo.
Oh,
I think that's the lesson that we need to take from this one, man. Do the work and you'll get all the benefits that's coming to you, man. Much love to you and your family, man. Thank you for coming on the podcast, bro.
oh yeah, thanks for having me.